Alright, I'm going to tell y'all a little story about something that I know for sure. Like I'm telling y'all, I'm thinking Harvey Freebird probably is a confidential informant on a big case, okay? Why do I say this? Because there was once upon a time in my life, even though you can't find it on my record, I don't know, you might be able to or not. It's been expunged from my record. But I still have the original warrant. I have the indictment against me, the true bill that was returned one day whenever I shot this man. Okay, now this man was getting away with all kinds of felonies, man. He'd shoot at us, and he'd fucking bullets fly by us, and anything he was doing, the police would not arrest him. Okay, he shot at Mexicans one day, and the police would not arrest him. Then one day with me, he was doing these crimes against me too, and I called the cops a couple times. They would not do nothing. Same way they won't do nothing about Harvey and the felonies that he committed against me and my family. Well, anyway, with this particular guy, it escalated up into one day to where that dumb son of a bitch thought he was going to get away with everything because the cops wasn't doing nothing for him, and he actually came to my house this day with a rifle. Well, it escalated to where he got himself shot. Okay. Thing is, I didn't shoot him to kill him. I shot his foot off. Okay. He had a rifle, 22. I had a 45. Now I shot his foot off, and I told him that's a warning. Next one going between your eyes. He said he didn't want no more. He backed his ass up on out there, keeping himself in plain view where the rifle he couldn't even think about using it, okay? But at any rate, the dude got himself shot, and I didn't know he was the snitch yet, okay? I did not know. Several months went by over the next 8-10 months or so, whatever it was. I kept going to court every month, and this guy was getting away with all kinds of crimes, okay? Getting away with all kinds of stuff. He shot at the Mexicans. He had like 5 felony charges on him, and they wouldn't arrest him. One day, I went to court, and the judge asked me if the dude still lived there. I said, yeah. He said, well, he got like 5 felony warrants on him. He said, if you see him, you pick him up. So I said, oh, I'm deputized now, huh? And he said, oh, no, never mind. I made a mistake. He said, if you see him, you call the sheriff. So I said, okay. I went home from court that day, and the dude was sitting on his porch flipping me off, right? I'd already done shot this motherfucker. I done shot him once, okay? Dumbass bitch. But he was flipping me off, so I went home. I called the sheriff. I said, motherfucker's right there, man. So the sheriff came and talked to him, right? He got in his truck. He drove off one way. They drove off the other way. They did not take him to jail. So, next time I went to court, man, I started talking, man. I was like, man, Your Honor, this motherfucker, he was shooting at my kids. I was telling the whole story about everything he was doing. My kids was out there that day. That's the day he got himself shot, when them bullets flew by my children, okay? When them bullets flew by the heads of my children, that's the day he got himself shot. But this particular day, I've been going to court every day for like 8 months, man, every month. So on this particular day, man, I just started going off. I couldn't handle it no more. So I stood up. I said, Your Honor, man, this is happening, that's happening. The judge said, Mr. Kennedy, you need to sit down and shut up. I said, no, I don't think so. And I started singing everything I had been seeing. Everything. I told it all. Okay? Well, that day went by. The next day went by. It was like 10 o'clock at night, and they said throughout today, the Clay County and Nashville, they served 28 warrants all the way from Clay County all the way through Nashville. Some of them was even police officers. They took out the cocaine pipeline. Turned out, the guy that I shot, that they was letting get away with all those felonies, doing everything he wanted to do, that was their snitch. Now, with what Harvey did early this morning, with the drugs and everything that I know about prospects and banditos and pills and what Harvey's been convicted for and everything, I was thinking that maybe it had to do with what he's exposing with the police, because he has exposed some police corruption. But I'm thinking more along the lines, Harvey is an undercover confidential informant for the district attorney, for the DEA, for RICO cases against the Bandidos and against... Harvey's in San Leon. San Leon is where the Bandidos was started. Harvey is right there at the heart of the Bandito territory. So I'm thinking that's what they're actually using him for, as a plant to buy drugs. He's been buying and using drugs all along. Just like Gilbert and all these dope fiends here in Galveston, man, the cops will use them to buy drugs, knowing that they give them $100 to bring them drugs, they get $10 worth of drugs, and their confidential informant keeps $90 worth of drugs, but they don't care because they still got the 10, okay? This is just the way it works. But I'm really thinking, based on life experience and what they're allowing Harvey to get away with, because Harvey has committed felonies against my family and I with the retaliation. With his retaliation campaign and everything he's done, and he hadn't been arrested. He hadn't been arrested. Well, Galveston thinks I'm just going to lay down and let them do whatever the fuck they want to do. They don't want to get Sergeant Pompa in trouble. They don't want to do the right thing. They saying, well, we're just going to sweep this under the rug. Well, I done complained to the Attorney General asking for a complaint, with the Attorney General asking for investigation, which I believe they started that today. Galveston been notified. But what they hadn't been notified yet is the complaint with request for investigation to the Texas Rangers in Austin, a complaint with investigation to the FBI field office in Houston, requesting investigation and complaint, and I also sent one to the Department of Justice on Pennsylvania Avenue in Washington, D.C., because of all the civil rights violations and the incorrect... This police department has went to shit. And it started within 3 months after Doug Bally was made the chief. I mean, even before that, I'm pretty sure, but really bad after Doug Bally. We had botched raids and just so many things been going on since then, it ain't funny. But at any rate, that man in Tennessee, the one that I shot, turned out he was the key informant on a major narcotics investigation, and that's why they let him get away with all the felonies. And it went so long to where it escalated to where I shot that son of a bitch, and I had to stand trial. Okay, I lost all my hair. I lost everything I had. I couldn't get a job. I mean, everything went bad when I was on trial. While I was on trial for shooting that piece of shit, I had lost my construction jobs that had fallen out. The guys I was working for that was making $28 an hour, they was taking jobs at $8 an hour. That's how bad it went, okay? But I had went and Dell Computer was hiring. So I applied and I took their class and I graduated at the top of the class. I was the #1 graduate in the class. And then they found out I had a pending felony. And they said, well, you can't work here with a felony. I said, but I ain't got no felony. It's pending. They said, yeah, but it's pending. You can't work here even with a pending felony. Once it's cleared up, you can come back. And by the time I got it cleared up and it was dismissed, man, okay? Yes, I shot him. But the cops told me I was supposed to have killed him, which that's actually against my religion. I gave him a warning and it worked. I did not have to kill him. But it was actually dismissed by the court, and by the time it was dismissed, Dell Computer was no longer hiring. They was actually laying off, see? So, I mean, it made life bad. But if the cops would have just put that prick in jail for the felonies he was committing against people, not just against me, but so many others. Just like Harvey's been committing felonies against the Lowrys, against Lowry and his wife. He's been stalking them. I know what Harvey does, okay? Yes, he has. He's getting away with it because he is a major informant. He's a key informant in a major investigation. I've seen this happen too many times in my life. I've seen it happen too many times in my life. And it's actually happened to me to where, like I said, man, it aged me so much. Those 2 years I was on trial. It took 2 years, man. Once a month I had to go to court, and I was facing 10 years in prison. 10 years, yep. All because the cops let him get away with felony crimes against everybody because they thought it was a trade-off for a greater good, because they took out the cocaine pipeline between Nashville and Clay County, Tennessee. Which some of it actually, they had like 28 sealed indictments they served. Some of them was against Tennessee State Police, from what I understood. Yep, but at any rate, guys, that's just a little story about from, throughout my life, why I think Harvey is a confidential informant. Because I shot a man one day, turned out he was the snitch, 100%. It was verified after it was all over with. This guy was the key informant in a major narcotics investigation, and that's why they let him get away with everything they let him get away with. And they will send you, the innocent, to prison to protect their key informant just so he can testify against those that he helped them bust for drugs. Yep. And after this morning, I really believe that's what Harvey's got going on. With that, guys, I am out.